everyone, welcome to our latest edition of our virtual Starshine Yoga and mindfulness sessions. I hope you're well. I hope you've been enjoying the lovely weather that we've had last week and that you've been able to get outside as much as you can in the fresh air. If you follow our Starshine Yoga social media channels on Instagram or Facebook, you will have seen that I did post that last week was our National Mental Health Awareness Week, and the theme this year was kindness. So on each day of the week there were different kind challenges for us to have a go at. Things like on one day make a cup of tea for somebody, on another day write a letter to somebody. So maybe on one day this week, if you haven't done any of those challenges yet, you could make a cup of tea for a member of your family. Maybe you could write a letter to a friend or a grandparent that you haven't seen for a while, or a cousin. So have a look and check out those kindness challenges. And it's always really lovely to do different random acts of kindness for other people. But on the last day of the week, one of the challenges says, spend some time being kind to you. And that's something we're going to think about first in today's session. Because a lot of the time we spend time thinking about being kind to others, but we don't spend a lot of time on ourselves, on our self-care and looking after us. We put others first, which is great, but actually you need to start with you, and you need to start thinking about how can I be kind and happy to myself? Because if you're not happy with yourself, it's hard for you to spread happiness and kindness to others. So this week, you're going to need to start with a piece of paper and a pen, because we're actually going to start with a mindfulness activity before our breathing. And then for our breathing activity, you're going to need a mirror. So either grab a small mirror like this one, or you can go and use one of the big mirrors around the house when we get to that part of the session. But when you're ready, I want you to come onto your mat or onto the floor, wherever you're practicing your yoga and mindfulness today. And our mindfulness activity that we're thinking about to start the session is making a list of things that you can do for yourself, your self-care. So on one side, we're going to spend the next few minutes making a list of things that you could do to keep yourself happy. So maybe you might say, have a bath, go for a walk on my own, watch a film, do some baking on my own. So something that makes you happy. And on the other side, we're going to write down our positive attributes. So things that we really like about ourselves, things that we're proud of. And that's sometimes quite hard to do, because sometimes it's seen as almost being a little bit arrogant or bigging ourselves up. But it's not, it's just remembering all the good things that we have to offer, because sometimes we're actually quite hard on ourselves. So to start with, I want you to join me. I'm going to do this too, I'm going to practice this too. I want you to write on the first side things that you could do to make yourself happy, to give yourself a little bit of joy. So I'm going to write down, take a bath, because I don't do that enough. Okay, I want you to pause there and have a little look at your list of things that you're going to do to give yourself some self-care. So I've written down I'm going to take a bath, make sure I take a bath one evening this week. I've put I'm going to spend some time outside on my own, so maybe go for a walk on my own, or just spend some time in the garden on my own, maybe while my baby naps. Because a lot of the time when my baby is napping, I spend the time doing jobs around the house, but that's not giving myself any self-care. So I'm going to spend some time outside on my own this week. I've put down I'm going to listen to a podcast, make some time for that. I'm going to read a book that I've started last week but haven't read for a week. And I'm going to find some time to watch a film that I want to watch. So I'd love to know what you've written that you're going to do to give yourself some me time, to be kind to yourself. Okay, the next activity we're going to do is we're going to write down on the other side positive traits, things that we like about ourselves. Okay, so it might be that you think you're a good friend. It might be that you are good at helping around the house with chores. It might be that you're good at cooking, or emptying the dishwasher, or hanging the washing out, and you're helpful. So have a go at writing down the things that you like about you. Okay, so you can spend a longer time doing this. Okay, you might not have written down everything you wanted to, but I'm just going to share a couple with you. You don't have to share these with anyone. These can just be things, maybe you might feel a bit embarrassed doing this activity, but I don't think we should be scared to think about the things that we're good at and remind ourselves of things that we do well. So I've written down, I try to be a good mummy and wife. I try to be a good friend. Over the last few weeks, I've tried to think about people, some of my friends who maybe need cheering up, so I've sent them little gifts, like a bunch of flowers or a little box of sweets to try and cheer them up. I'm proud of the way I look after my health, doing exercise and eating well. I try to cook nutritious meals. I try to be a good teacher and a good role model to others. I've written down, I'm proud of the fact that I try to donate unworn clothes that I haven't worn for a while, to charity shops and clothes banks. So that's the things that I'm proud of what I do, and that's a way of being kind to myself by thinking about all of my positive attributes. So I want you to spend some time carrying on with those mindfulness activities over the next week. Okay, but moving on to our breathing. So today we're going to do mirror breath. So if you've got a mirror that you can bring to your yoga mat or the carpet, wherever you're doing your yoga, then great. If not, then you can go and find a mirror around the house and do this. We're going to be seeing the breath today on the mirror, and you might need to give your mirror a quick clean at the end of the activity. Because what we're going to do 5 mirror breaths, seeing the breath, and we're going to take a big deep breath in through our nose, and then as we breathe out, we're going to breathe onto the mirror, and I want you to be able to see your big deep yoga breath. Okay, you're going to see the mirror steam up. So big deep breath in. Okay, so mine's really steamed up, and I'm going to keep trying to do that for the next 4 breaths. Ready? So you might want to close your eyes as you do it. Big deep breath in. Good, well that covered the whole mirror that time. Ready? 3 more breaths, big deep breath in. Good, 2 more breaths, big deep breath in. And last one, big deep breath in. Good, so hopefully your mirror is nice and steamed up and needs a good clean now. Okay, so moving on to our exercises. Okay, so we're going to do the sun sequence as normal this week. I'm not going to miss out any of the moves, so just my turn, your turn. Stick, hands, reach to the sun. Elephants, proud horse, dog, cobra, dog, proud horse, elephant, reach to the sun, hands and stick. Okay, excellent. Right, moving on to the 5 poses that we learnt last week. I'm going to say the pose, and I'm not going to show you, I'm going to see if you can remember them from last week at home. Okay, so the first pose I'd like you to have a go at home is our warrior 1. Now remember we had a sequence of 3 warriors, so I want you to try warrior 1 first. Can you remember it? Good, so hopefully at home you've taken a big step forward, so you've got a really good lunge, deep lunge going on, feeling it in your hips and your legs. Back leg is straight, front leg is bent, making sure your knees are not going over your toes, and hopefully your arms are now pointing up towards the ceiling, fingers pointing up. Good, we're all holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And can you now move straight into warrior 2? Can you remember how we moved into warrior 2? That's right, we turn our back foot to the side and we bring our arms out to either side. Nice and high and straight, looking down that front arm, and we're still in that deep lunge. Good, opening out our hips now, feeling it really nicely. Holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And can you now move from warrior 2 straight into warrior 3? So still with that front leg forward, lifting our back leg off the floor. I'm going to move back slightly. Bringing your arms out straight, and as you do, lifting that back leg so that you're making that T shape, holding that gaze, finding something to focus on, pointing that back foot, those back toes, holding it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Excellent, good. Hopefully you've really felt it in that side, because now we're going to go for the opposite side. Okay, so swap legs and go back to warrior one, and holding it here on the other side for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, going straight into warrior two, swivel that back foot, looking down that front arm, making sure you're still upright and that you're not tipping yourself forward. Not yet, holding it for 3, 2, 1, and then going straight into warrior three. Good, holding that balance, lifting that back leg as high as you can. Don't worry how high you've got it. Holding it for 5. Oh, I'm wobbling a bit. Make sure that you're not wobbling at home. 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. Hopefully you've really felt each side of your body working hard with our warrior 1, 2, and 3. Give your legs a shake because we're going into triangle pose. Can you show me at home triangle pose? Can you remember it? Making that triangle shape with our legs slightly wider than shoulder width, and reaching down one side and bringing the other arm up straight. Good. Holding it here for 5, 4, 3. Perhaps you can look up at that hand pointing to the ceiling. 2. Feel a good stretch up the side of your body. 1. And change sides, go straight into triangle on the other side. Good, can you look up at that hand again, holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Excellent. Give yourself a shoulder roll. Loosen out that upper body as well as our lower body. Okay, this next one's working on our back. So I'm going to see if you can remember at home camel pose. This was that really challenging pose where we're arching backwards. And last week you might have just got to here, which was great. You might have gone all the way. If you were here last week, can you now take it the whole way down? So we're taking hold of our heels. We're looking up. Good. Opening out our chest and our lungs and our breathing, holding it here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Excellent, good. Fantastic job, guys. Okay, well done. So, we're going to end today with a mindfulness relaxation. So really thinking about mindfulness in this session today, really thinking about being present. And you're going to like this one because we're going to do some mindful eating. Okay, something a bit different, something a bit fun. So you will need to go and find something tasty to eat in your house. So you might want to pause me now while you do that. I've got some chocolate or some strawberries. I'm going to take a square of chocolate and we are going to do some mindful eating practice together. So when you're ready with your piece of food that you've got, I want you to grab it. I don't want you to eat it yet. And I want you to bring it down with you to the mat. Okay, so let me just explain first actually a little bit about mindfulness eating. So we eat lots of food every day and we often don't think about what we're eating. We eat food to survive, to give us energy, and we often sometimes rush our meals if we're in a hurry to get somewhere. So mindfulness eating today, we're going to slow down the process of eating and we're going to think about using our senses, our 5 senses, by looking really carefully at the food. Because a lot of the time we don't really look at what we're eating. We just put it straight into our mouth. We're going to think about how the food feels. We're going to think about what it smells like, what it sounds like as we eat it, and then obviously what it tastes like. Because often actually we judge whether we like food by how it looks, smells, feels, before we even have tasted it. And it's really good to slow down the process of eating and to chew our food a lot more. Health professionals say we should really chew our food about 20 times before we swallow it to help the digestion of it, to make sure we don't get stomach aches and stomach problems. And I know that I often rush my food, especially on days that I'm going into schools teaching yoga and music, and then sometimes I get indigestion, and that's because I haven't mindfully eaten and I haven't really enjoyed my food. So we're going to slow the process down today. So when you've got your piece of food, I want you first to have a good look at it. So really study it. Look at the shape of it. I can see mine says on it Cadbury. It's got pointy corners, jaggedy edges. It's got a smooth top and bottom, smooth ridge. And now I want you to give it a smell. So mine obviously smells nice and sweet. I can smell a little bit of kind of saltiness because it's got pieces of Daim bar in it. How does it feel in your hands? Mine is starting to melt because this room is quite warm in my yoga studio. So it feels kind of sticky to me, soft. Okay, I want you to take a bite of it. And I want you to listen. My piece of food is quite crunchy because it's got those Daim pieces in, so I can hear crunchiness. As you swallow it and you chew it, I want you to think about how it tastes. Mine is sweet, salty from the Daim, velvety, slippery as it goes down, and I'm encouraging you to put it all in now. Oops. And really try and chew it. Spend a bit more time chewing than you would normally, to really enjoy all the sensations in your mouth and really enjoy the taste of what it is you're eating. Excuse me, it's a little bit melted. Okay, now, that was delicious. Now obviously, I've just spent a lot longer eating a very small amount of food than I would normally. That's not how I eat everything normally. But actually, it allowed me, by doing that mindful eating, to really taste all the flavours of that square of chocolate, to really look at what I was eating and appreciate the texture of it, the shape of it, the smell, the sound it made. And like I say, mindful eating and eating slower is going to be a lot better for our health, our digestive system. So I am encouraging you today, after this session, to eat your next meal in a lot slower and more mindful way. Because as I was eating that piece of chocolate, I wasn't thinking about anything else. I was being completely mindful and present in that moment. So I'm encouraging you to eat your next meal a little bit more mindfully, and to be a little bit more mindful and present at each meal time from now on. Okay. And we're going to just finish with 2 big breaths. We're going to draw a big circle with our arms as we breathe in all the way up. And back down as we breathe out. And one more time, big deep breath in. And out. And I'm going to say namaste. And thank you so much for joining me for this session. We've done a lot of mindfulness today, so hopefully you've enjoyed it. I hope you spend some time being kind to yourself, taking some self-care, seeing that mindful eating, and I look forward to seeing you next week for some different activities, different yoga moves, and some different games. Thank you very much. Bye guys.